is finishing up the last edits that we discussed to those jury instructions. Anything else before we get Mr. Copeland in and find out his intentions?
May I briefly address the court, Your Honor?
Sure.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. I just want to make sure that the court saw that I requested a certificate of immediate review on your denial of my motion for mistrial. I believe I sent an email to Ms. Percival on Friday.
I did see that, and I instructed Ms. Percival to issue an order denying it. If that didn't get filed, I'm sorry, but I'll be denying that.
I just want to make sure that you did see it.
Yeah.
Okay. I would encourage you to grant it, Your Honor.
I'm sure that you would, but I'm denying it.
All right. Thank you. I won't continue to argue then.
Anything else? Better that y'all be cold than that I be hot, so I'm not changing it. Sorry. So there, I think I've mentioned before, there are 2 other thermostats somewhere in this courtroom that are supposed to control the courtroom area. And if y'all want to adjust those up, you're fine with that. I'm sorry if y'all are cold. Sorry. All right. Let's, and I assume we've got Mr. Melnick with us. Let's get Mr. Copeland and Mr. Melnick in. All right, it's Monday morning now, and I need to find out from you what your intention is with regard to whether you are going to testify in this case. You have been granted immunity so that the privilege of self-incrimination is no longer relevant because the state can't use anything that you might say in answer to their questions or any other questions against you. And you have been instructed with the benefit of counsel as to the consequences if you don't testify. So I'm asking you now what your intention is.
May I speak?
You can answer my question, please. And so you're under subpoena. The state intends to question you. Are you going to answer any of those questions? Are you going to testify in this case?
Well, Your Honor, I've been pressured from the get-go. You know what I mean? Like, Even when I went to the meeting with Glanville, I have told him over and over and over and over. You know what I mean? This is on my conscience. I got to keep distracting myself every day because I'm being dragged down to here because of lies that I don't told. I'm tired of y'all bothering me.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that you're tired of being bothered, but you're under subpoena. It's a valid court order. So your decision at this point is, yes, I will abide by the subpoena and testify, or no, I will not abide by the subpoena and the immunity order, and I will be held in contempt for my refusal and put in jail. So which is your decision?
But I did the time for all my crimes that I was caught for.
Sure, this would not be any kind of punishment for any crimes you may or may not have committed. This would be that you have been ordered by a court to testify, and if you refuse to testify, you're held in contempt. You're saying, I refuse to listen to the court's order and obey it. And it is not a punishment, it is an incentive to have you change your mind and obey the court order. So which is your decision?
Can you explain that to me?
So we talked about it.
It's the same thing that Glanville doing to me?
It is the same order that is still in control. You have a subpoena for your testimony. That is a court order. You also have a court order that says anything that you say can't be used against you other than if you get on the stand and lie and it amounts to perjury, you can be charged with that or with false statements. But if you refuse to testify altogether, when you're under a court order to do that, then that is considered contempt because you're saying, I don't care what the court has ordered, I'm not going to do it, and then you'll be put in jail through the end of this trial. Or until you decide, you know what, I think I will testify after all.
So let me, Your Honor, I'm telling you to your face, you just said that something about it, they can lock me up for lying. I'm telling you to your face, this is all I do. And you're telling me that they can lock me up if I lie. But if I sit here and testify, so the either way it go, I'm going to jail.
No, not with regard to anything that you might testify to that might otherwise admit to a crime or admit to your involvement in a crime. That's what the immunity order does. And I'm sure Mr. Melnick has explained this to you, and I know I've explained it previously, but none of that is going to result in you being put in jail because they cannot use that evidence against you to prove any of those crimes that you might incriminate yourself about. So are you going to testify or not? Do you want to talk to Mr. Melnick again? No? Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to have you step out for just a minute while we get the jury in. Mr. Melnick, if you could step out with him, please. Just so. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I am. I was gonna see if anybody had anything to say first.
Your Honor, I'm going to renew my motion for a mistrial based on coercion by Judge Glanville. This is based on the fact that Mr. Copeland, having now been properly instructed that he would only be incarcerated until the end of trial versus his instruction previously that he would be incarcerated forever. He's now deciding to testify. I think at this point, it demonstrates the coercion by Judge Glanville. So I'd like you to reconsider that.
All right. I don't think it just demonstrates anything of the sort. I think it demonstrates that he has now been properly advised and he's making a decision anew. Thank you. Overruled. Yes.
Housekeeping matter. Is the Harvey rule still under your guidance? Still in effect? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay. And so I'm going to have the jury out. I'm going to give them the 3 instructions that we just discussed. Then we'll have Mr. Copeland in. I'd like him resworn. And then you can pick up from whatever you want to do post 3 p.m. June 12th.
And Your Honor, may I just step outside to see if Mr. Melnick has informed Mr. Copeland that there's going to be some testimony he's going to have to repeat. My interactions with Mr. Copeland, he'll get frustrated.
Okay, you know what? Why don't you, instead of you going to talk to anybody, just can I have Mr. Melnick in again?
Yeah.
Real fast. That's a good idea, though, to tell him that. I don't know if he's been told that or not. I don't think Mr. Melnick was in here this morning when we were discussing the directions or the instructions.
Just while we're waiting, you're going to bring them in after you give the instruction and the excuse.
Certain. Yeah. Mr. Melnick, I just wanted to make sure, because you weren't in here this morning when we were discussing it, and you may or may not have been in here for any of the times we were discussing it, but we are going to be essentially redoing everything post-recusal motion, and I didn't know if Mr. Copeland was aware of that or not. So some of the things he's going to feel like, man, I already said this once, but he's going to have to say it again because I'm telling the jury disregard a lot of the last few days of his testimony.
So I believe he's aware of it.
Okay.
As far as what he remembers about what he testified or his testimony.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. And
Your Honor,
yes.
with respect to Mr. Copeland being resworn, I would ask the court to remind Mr. Copeland that
he's still under oath. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. Since we are accepting the first part of his testimony anyway, sure, I'll do that. Anything else before we bring the jury in? Okay. Let's go ahead and get the jury. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all can be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. My name is Judge Paige Reese Whitaker. Judge Ural Glanville is no longer the judge presiding over this case. I will be the presiding judge in this case moving forward, and you are not to concern yourselves with this change. Let me remind you, as I assume the presiding duties in this case, that none of my decisions and nothing that I say during the trial is evidence, just like none of Judge Glanville's decisions and nothing Judge Glanville said during the trial is evidence. The decisions and remarks of a judge do not mean that the judge favors or leans to one side or another in this case. The court is only interested in seeing that this case is tried fairly, based on the laws and the Constitution of the state of Georgia and the Constitution of the United States. You are to disregard any comments that may have been made by Judge Glanville that may have been disparaging of any of the lawyers in this case. To maintain the integrity of the jury system, I remind you that you must decide this case based only on the evidence admitted during this trial and the law as I will explain it to you. Now, I know that you have been on a bit of a break, but prior to that break, witness Kenneth Copeland was testifying. I'm going to instruct you and admonish you now that you are to disregard any and all of Mr. Copeland's testimony and any evidence introduced during that testimony that came after the 3 p.m. break on Wednesday, June 12th, which was the last break for that day. And that is, you are to disregard any and all testimony and evidence that came after the questioning and answers about Mr. Copeland's involvement in the Atlanta Blood Gang, ABG, and his January 11th, 2015 interview with Detective Thorpe of the Atlanta Police Department. The court is going to be collecting any of the notes you wrote during that portion of the trial, and I'm going to give you a short break in just a moment to identify those notes and provide those notes to my staff attorney, Ms. Persifield. And I'd like to find out at this point in time if there are any of you who cannot set aside and disregard that portion that I just mentioned of Mr. Copeland's testimony and evidence in the deliberations in this case. That is everything after his testimony about ABG and after the 3 p.m. break on Wednesday, June 12th. If there is anybody who cannot set aside and completely disregard that portion of the evidence in your deliberations, please stand up now and let me know if there are any of you. All right, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick break to go back in and identify that portion of your notes and provide them to the staff attorney. And then I'll have you back out. I'll give you some other short instructions and we'll resume the testimony. So y'all can go ahead and do that for now for me. Thank you. All right, y'all be seated. And while they're out doing that, let me just ask y'all what was the practice with regard to order of cross-examination? Is somebody just taking it as the team? Somebody will handle it? Okay. All right.
When you say taking it as the team,
Like, is there going to be one of you fine lawyers who's going to represent the questioning for all of the different defendants, or are we doing all 6 of you individually?
all 6 individuals.
Okay. What order are y'all going in is what I was trying to.
There's no particular order, Your Honor. Whoever gets up and starts.
Okay.
Generally.
Just find out from each of you whether you have anything else. Okay. You may, but I'm not going to wait for you to get back to bring the jury back. Okay. And we'll just recess in place at this point until the jury is finished with their note. that the jurors, we have retrieved the notes that they are not to have or consider, and they have back the notes that portions of the notes that they can have. So we are ready on that front. And I believe we are ready to get Mr. Copeland back in and pick up with his testimony. So, yeah, we can go ahead and get him on the stand. No, I'm just going to remind him that he is still under oath. Oh, actually, tell them to hold off, because get them in. I still have this 1 page of instructions, so then we'll have him in. Yeah, get them now. Thanks. So we're going to get the jury in. It's honestly fine either way if he's already on the way. He's not. Okay. Thank you. All right, y'all can be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the instructions that I'm about to give you apply to the evidence that has already been admitted during this trial and to all of the evidence yet to be admitted during the remainder of this trial. Count 1 of the indictment charges a conspiracy to violate Georgia's Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, which is sometimes referred to as RICO. At the end of the case, I will give you detailed instructions about what is required to establish a RICO conspiracy violation. And at that time, I will also give you detailed instructions about the other counts in the indictment, as well as other important principles of law. But today, as we resume this trial, I want to give you a brief explanation of some principles to just keep in mind while you listen to the evidence. This is not a substitute for the more detailed instructions that I will give you at the end of the case. Sometimes evidence is admitted for a limited purpose against some defendants, but not others, or for some counts of the indictment, but not others. In this trial, count 1 charges each of the defendants with the crime of conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. Since all of the defendants are charged in count 1, and since each of the other counts charged in this indictment is asserted to be an overt act in furtherance of the alleged RICO Act violation, you may consider all of the evidence that is admitted when you are considering whether the state has proved the RICO conspiracy as to each defendant in count 1. However, generally, when you are considering the remaining counts, you may consider the evidence of that count only against the defendants who are charged in that count. All right, we are going to go ahead and resume with Mr. Copeland's testimony. So let's go ahead and get him in. All right, Mr. Copeland, I'm going to remind you that you are still under oath. Go ahead, Ms. Hilton.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Mr. Copeland, do you know a person by the name of Shell Cal?
I don't recall.
Are you saying you don't recall if you know someone by the name of Shell Cal?
Sustain.
Do you recall speaking with law enforcement about an individual that you know by the name of Shell Cal?
I don't recall.
I want to go back to December of 2014 and into January of 2015. Were you present at a gambling house in Lakewood when the shooting occurred?
I don't recall.
Let me ask you. Also, back in 2015, do you remember being at a Cascade skating ring speaking with an individual by the name of Shell Cal?
I don't recall.
Back in January of 2015, do you recall being at a Club Crucial and getting into a fight with an individual by the name of Shell Cal?
I don't recall nothing that happened years ago.
All right. Do you recall in January of 2015 having to go to the Atlanta Police Department to talk about whether or not you were involved in the murder of an individual by the name of Donovan Thomas Jr.?
Say that again.
Do you recall in January of 2015 having to go to the Atlanta Police Department to speak about your potential involvement in the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr.?
I don't recall.
All right. On January 11th, 2015, did you go to the Atlanta Police Department at about 3 o'clock in the morning?
I don't recall.
Okay. And did you speak with a detective by the name of Detective Thorpe?
I don't recall who I speak with. I don't recall.
And during that interview, did you go down there to speak with him about the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr.?
I don't recall who I spoke with.
Okay. And in that same interview, did you speak with him about not just the murder of Donovan Thomas, but events that led up to the murder of Donovan Thomas on June 10th, 2015?
I'm a liar. So you want me to remember something that I done lied about in the past? Like, I don't know.
So my question for you is, did you go to the Atlanta Police Department? Is your response you don't recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. And during that interview with Detective Thorpe at the Atlanta Police Department, did you provide him your name and your date of birth?
Huh?
When you went to the Atlanta Police Department and met with Detective Thorpe, did you give him your date of birth?
I don't know.
Okay. And is your date of birth July 25th, 1991?
What?
Is your date of birth July 25th, 1991?
I think.
Okay. And during this interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you also have a middle name of Xavier?
I don't know what I told. I don't remember what I told him. Okay. I'm not trying to say the wrong thing so y'all can lock me back up.
All right. Well, just bear with me. We're going to go through that interview, okay?
Objection to the commentary.
Now,
Disregard the commentary by the witness.
Now, during the interview, Did you speak with Detective Thorpe about the issues you had with a person by the name of Kel?
I don't recall.
And did you speak with Detective Thorpe about a problem that the two of you all had in the club?
I don't recall.
Okay. And did you tell Detective Thorpe in that same interview that Kel was Nut's little brother?
I don't know if they brothers or not.
Okay. So do you know who Kel is?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. And when I say Nut, is that Donovan Thomas Jr.?
You asking me that?
I am asking you that.
Say that again.
Sure. Do you know a person that goes by the name of Nut?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, in that same interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe about you and Kel getting into the fight at Club Crucial?
I don't recall nothing from 2015, 14, 16, none of that.
Okay. And during that same interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you and Kel had been in a beef for maybe about no longer than 4 months, and this was back in 2015?
And he's still alive?
My question is, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you, Michelle Kel, at that time in 2015, had a beef, and it was probably going on around 4 months at that time?
I tell the detective whatever they want me to say, whatever they want to hear, whatever. So if I said it to him, I said it to him. I don't recall what I said to no police.
Okay. And during that same interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that whenever y'all were in the club, y'all would initially just throw up birds at each other?
Huh?
In this January 11, 2000 interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that initially, when you and Michelle Kel were in the club, y'all never really fist fought, y'all just would throw up birds at each other?
Like I told you, before y'all called me to trial, I have lied. I made things up. I told you this before y'all brought me in this courtroom. And I'm telling you now, you asked me about 2015, I have got my life together. Y'all trying to put this on my conscience. Y'all trying to put people's life in my hands. I don't lie on people. I don't want to be here. Y'all have pressured me. I'm tired of y'all, because y'all know y'all are wrong. And y'all black people doing this to us.
And I understand that.
Leave me alone. Let me leave. Man, y'all pissing me off. Listen, I don't recall nothing I said to no police. Stop asking me these questions. Okay. I'm telling you, I don't recall.
I understand, but we're going to have to get through the questions. You can just continue to say you don't recall if that's what it is.
That's what you want me to say?
I want you to
Hang on,
answer the
everybody,
question.
for just a minute.
Objection, improper instruction of the witness in how to testify.
I don't think that you were instructing him how to testify. I hope not. But
I
don't
am
instruct him how to testify other than truthfully.
And thank you. And that's
Any
all.
other objection, or was that covered? All right, go ahead.
If you can answer the questions truthfully, and we can move forward. Can we do that?
I don't recall.
All right. Now going back to 2015, did you tell Detective Thorpe first about a meeting that you had with Michelle Kel at the Cascade skating ring?
I don't recall.
Have you ever been to the Cascade skating ring?
I don't recall.
Is the Cascade skating ring in Atlanta?
I don't recall.
Did you tell Detective Thorpe that while at the Cascade skating ring that you met and that you talked to Michelle Kel about all the beef that you had with each other?
I want to talk. I'm gonna be doing with my gun.
Okay. Back in 2015, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you had a gun at the Cascade skating rink?
I would never tell the police nothing I did.
Okay. Now, back in 2015, did you meet with Atlanta Police Department detectives on at least 5 occasions after the murder of Nutt?
I met with them a lot of times.
Okay. And during each of those times, did you talk to them about what was happening between YSL and If Gang?
Nah, I was telling them whatever I think that get them out for me.
Okay. Did you go and talk to the police after your car was shot up on the highway?
It's called finessing.
Okay. But did your car get shot up while you were on the highway?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you, your child, and your child's mother get shot at while you were leaving your home?
They got shot at.
Okay. Were you with them?
Not my kids and my child, mama.
Were you coming out of the house with you, your child, and your child's mother? Did that occur?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did your girlfriend's father's home get shot up after Donovan Thomas got murdered?
I don't recall.
All right. So going back to January 11th interview with Detective Thorpe, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you and Kel talked about the beef that the two of you had with each other?
I don't recall.
Okay. And during that, when you and Kel spoke, Kel asked you to call Thug on the telephone. It's effect on the listener or not.
It's a what? I'm sorry.
Effect on the listener or not. Whether or not he called, but what he did in response to being asked that.
All right. Overruled.
So, did you tell Detective Thorpe that when you met with Kel at the Cascade skating ring, he asked you to call Thug?
Okay, so this what happened.
Okay.
The police kept locking me up for whatever they could. Every time I came out the door, the police was on me. And they keep bringing up Thug's name. So what I did was, to get him off of me, I said, Thug did this, Thug did that, Thug did, because I knew they would never, I knew he didn't do it. And in my mind, I knew that the police would never go mess with him. So it was easy for me to try to throw the blame off on him to get them off of me. And that's what I was doing from all these years. I don't remember what I done told them in the past. But my whole motive was, Thug did it because I knew he didn't do it, and they couldn't lock him up. And they keep talking about Thug. So guess what I'm gonna tell them? Yeah. What else you want me to tell them? Yeah, he killed this person. Yeah, he did that. That's what I'm gonna do. And that's right now. If I walk out this thing and they say the police stop me now, hey man, give me something about Thug. Shit, I'm about to make something up about him again.
On January 11, 2015, when you went to speak to the police, when they called you, did they ask you about Thug or did they ask you about the murder of Donovan Thomas?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Did you go down to the police department on your own to tell them that you did not kill Donovan Thomas?
Did I go on my own?
Did you walk into the police department by yourself to tell them on the morning of January 11, 2015, that you did not kill Donovan Thomas?
I don't recall.
Okay. So you don't recall going to the police, or you don't recall why?
I don't recall none of that.
All right.
I just know that every time the police was after me, trying to get me, they kept bringing his name up. And I knew that they had me what I had, so I was like, yeah, whatever y'all want me to say, I would say it. And that's why I told Gaither and Dennis, and that's why they kept coming after me, because they felt like, okay, they can make a case out of him or whatever they trying to do. So they knew that, okay, we gonna get Woody today, he gonna have something to say about Thug, and it's wrong. And y'all are wrong because y'all know that I'm full of shit. And y'all keep trying to drag me in here to bring up bullshit that y'all know I don't say it. Why is y'all doing that? Leave me alone. If y'all gonna charge me for what I don't did the time for the crimes y'all caught me for.
Okay. Would you mind your language while we're sitting here in court?
I'm trying to. Y'all need to give me a break because my blood pressure is real high. I keep telling y'all, leave me alone.
Okay. And the quicker we get through this, the quicker we can leave you alone. Do you understand?
Okay, I don't recall.
Okay. Going back to January 11th, 2015.
I don't recall.
Can I finish the
Wait
question?
and listen to the question first.
When you went to the Atlanta Police Department, Detective Thorpe didn't ask you about Thug. You brought up Thug. Do you recall that?
I did.
You did. Okay. So let's continue. During your meeting with Detective Thorpe, when you went down to the police department, did you tell him about the beef that you were having with Shell Kel?
Am I here to tell the truth or to remember my lies?
I want you to tell the truth.
But you keep going to my lies, though.
That's what you... Back in 2015, did you tell Detective Thorpe that this was a lie?
I would have told the police whatever. Listen, when they get me, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to try to tell them whatever I can to finesse my way out of whatever situation that I'm in.
Okay. And it's only now in 2024 that you're saying that everything you said in 2015 is a lie. Is that correct?
Because I went to the feds. Y'all didn't let me out of jail till what, four years later? So if I was telling the truth then, why it took y'all so many years to try to say, okay, he was being honest or whatever the case is? If I was telling the truth, y'all would have made any case back then. Y'all knew I was lying. Y'all put me in jail. I go do my time. I get out of jail, try to get my life together. Y'all trying to drag me back into the lies that I done made. Y'all, what's up?
Can I ask you this? In 2021, when you interviewed with Investigator Viverito after you got out of prison, did you tell her that everything you said back in 2015 was the truth, but we as a state didn't believe you back then?
So my thing is, right? I went to jail. So the lies that I was telling, they didn't go for it. Y'all didn't go for it. Whoever didn't go for it. So I went to jail, did my time for it, right? And then y'all got me again. So guess what they say? Well, we're going to bring up the name again. And guess what I'm going to do? Try to finesse my way out of it again because y'all ain't touching for the lies I done told on them in the past. So guess what? It ain't nothing to put the blame on Thug for what I did. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blame him for...
And let me...
I don't recall.
Okay, and let me ask you this. You keep talking about Thug, but were you asked about other individuals as well? During all these interviews, were you asked about Shannon?
And I'm going to put the blame on him.
Okay, were you asked about Demekion Garlington?
I'm going to put the blame on him.
Were you asked about Quindarius Zachary?
I'm going to put the blame on everybody but myself.
Okay, and during this time, did all the police, every time you spoke to someone, did they tell you that they are going to have to verify what you said?
And did they?
My
I
question
you
to
have
you,
one answer the question that she asked you.
did they tell you that we had to verify everything that you said?
I don't recall.
Okay. And when they told you they had to verify what you said, you continued to talk to the police.
Because with the knowledge that I have, it's nothing to trick the police.
But if they had to verify what you said, they had to make sure that what you said was true. How could you trick the police?
Easy.
Overruled.
How could you trick the police?
Easy.
How?
I can't tell you that.
Okay. Were you aware that the things that you talked about were verified?
Sustained. All right. We're going to take a quick break. Y'all all step back to the jury room for me. Thank you.
All right, from here.
All right. I don't know which, y'all can be seated. I don't know which
I got
person.
go out.
You can go out. Thank you.
You say go out?
Yeah, just stick very close. Mr. Melnick, you're going to go out there with him? All right, thank you. I don't know who voiced the objection first, but I mean the motion. Who said they had a motion first? But go ahead.
Your Honor, the way I wrote down in my notes is that the prosecutor said, not a question, but a statement, that the police verified inculpatory information from Mr. Copeland. That is not true, by the way. It is questionable whether anything's verified, but obviously jurors make that determination. That is testifying by the prosecution, that is bolstering by the prosecution, that is putting the prosecution's thumb on the scale of the justice, which can't, none of this can be done. This is not the first time that the prosecutors have put themselves in as giving facts before the jury rather than just trying to obtain facts. So I am moving for a mistrial. If your honorable court denies it, I need curative instructions to strike it, and respectfully, if it happens again, it will not be the second time. It's a continuum. So I would ask the court, I know you weren't here, but to keep that in mind as we go forward as well. I'm not moving off my mistrial. I'm just anticipating. No one wants a mistrial. I didn't want a mistrial, but why say that to a witness? So I don't see any good faith in that question.
All right, thank you. Mr. Short.
I adopt everything that my motion is the same. I adopt everything that Mr. Attorney Steele said. I'll also say that in Attorney Hilton's statement that the claims of Mr. Copeland were verified by the police. It's an improper expression of belief by an advocate in front of the jury, and that is improper. And I'll also add, Your Honor, not only do I not believe it to be true, but also there has been absolutely no evidence presented that any of this has been verified.
All right.
So, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Response? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, everybody joins. Okay.
When I asked the question, Your Honor, what we will eventually get to with Mr. Copeland, I believe, is that he's the person who told the police initially on the night of the murder about certain facts that were verified. And when I say verified, that we have corroborating evidence to support it. So Mr. Copeland, when he talks to police in June of 2015, he told the police that Mr. Williams rented the car that was used in the murder from...
Can I stop you for just a second?
Yes.
It may be that some of the things were verified. It may be you have presented evidence or will present evidence that some of the things were verified. The question that you asked was, did you know that all of the things you told them were verified? So that's the issue.
Okay. And I didn't mean all, but some of the things that he told police were corroborated. Maybe my better version.
I don't think that's how you said it.
Correct. So it was inartful, but what I was talking about is the things that he told police was corroborated by other evidence. And so
do you have a response to their motion for mistrial with regard to you having said, did you know that all of the things you told the police were verified?
Your Honor, I would ask that a mistrial not be granted, but that you ask the jury to strike that question, and I can rephrase the question.
All right. You need to be more artful.
Yes.
From the get-go with your questioning from here on out. Understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. I propose to instruct the jury, remind the jury that nothing that any attorney says in questioning is evidence, and also to strike Ms. Hilton's last question entirely from their minds. Any further curative instructions proposed?
No, Your Honor.
How about from the defense? Talk into your mic if you don't mind for me.
Make sure that after the court gives that instruction, we do not abandon the motions that have been joined in by everybody, so I don't have to get back up and say, that's not good enough.
No.
We don't agree to.
I'm asking you now, and I understand y'all would still prefer a mistrial, short of a mistrial, which I'm denying at this stage. These are the curative instructions I'm proposing. If understanding you'd still rather have the mistrial, is there anything further curatively that you all would like to add?
On behalf of Mr. Stillwell, I have nothing.
All right. All right. Nothing from anybody else.
No, Your Honor, just the same thing. The rule is that before the next question is posed, we have to again ask for a mistrial, but you just said that that's preserved, so nothing further.
Understood. All right. Thank you. All right. We're ready to get the jury back in and Mr. Copeland back on the stand. You can do that first. And y'all, one of the jurors needs to be on a quick Zoom at 12:30, so we're going to break for lunch by that time. All right, everybody can be seated. Thank you. Actually, I'm not sure they are. Almost all jurors are present and accounted for. All right, thank you. All right, y'all be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you that nothing that any attorney says in questioning is evidence, and I need you to strike Ms. Hilton's last question entirely from your minds. Go ahead, Ms. Hilton.
Thank you, Your Honor. Going back to this January 11, 2015 interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that once Thug and Kel had a conversation and you thought everything was squashed between you and Kel back in January of 2015.
What's your question?
Sure. Did you tell Detective Thorpe in the January 11th, 2015 interview that at the Cascade skating ring, Kel and Thug had a conversation and you thought your beef with Kel was squashed once you left the Cascade skating ring?
My motive was to get the heat off of me. The only way I was gonna get it off of me, what I thought about putting it on the, I felt he was rich, and the police locked me up and do what they want to do to me because I'm broke and I can't afford to pay for a lawyer. He rich, they're not gonna bother him. So I said, I got it off of me by putting it on him.
How is telling the police that the beef was squashed after a phone conversation puts anything on Thug?
Because I gotta line it up to get it off of me. So you gotta set the pattern.
Okay. Next, did you tell Detective Thorpe that on Monday you all went to Club Crucial on the Monday before Donovan Thomas passed away?
I don't know what you asked.
Okay. Going back to January 11th of 2015, did you speak with Detective Thorpe about going to Club Crucial on the Monday before Donovan Thomas passed away?
I told the detectives, I don't know none by their name, but everyone they talked to me, as long as they sit in front of me, I was gonna put the blame off on anybody to convince them to get off of me.
How is going to Club?
I don't remember what I don't told the detectives. I don't have a clue what I don't told them. That's why I can't tell you exactly what I don't told them, because I can't remember what I said.
Okay. Did you go to Club Crucial the Monday before Donovan Thomas was killed?
I probably did.
All right. And at Club Crucial, did you get into a fight with Kel?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you tell Detective Thorpe that you got into a fight with Kel at Club Crucial the Monday before Donovan Thomas got killed?
I probably did.
Okay. And did you tell them that was after you were flashing money while you were on the stage?
I probably did. I would, Detective Thorpe, his brain was the size of a squirrel brain. So you could just tell him anything, he gonna go for it.
You're right. At this time, the state's going to ask permission to treat Mr. Copeland as a hostile witness under pursuant to 24-6-611, Your Honor.
Granted.
Thank you.
What that mean?
Don't worry about it. That's just for her to understand how she can ask the questions. You just continue to answer them truthfully.
Isn't it true that in this January 11, 2015 interview that you told Detective Thorpe that at Club Crucial on that Monday before Donovan Thomas was killed that Kel punched you in the back of your head?
I don't recall what I told the detective.
And is it all? I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
I don't recall what I told him specifically, however you pronounce it.
Okay. And is it also true that after Kel punched you in the back of the head, then other people came and began jumping on you as well?
They time gonna come.
That's not the question I asked you. Is it true that you told Detective Thorpe during this January 11, 2000 interview that after Kel punched you in your head, that other individuals also began to jump on you as well?
I don't recall what I done told the police.
And also in that same interview, isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe that after they jumped on you, you ran outside of the club?
To get what?
Isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe that after they jumped on you, you ran outside of the club?
I ain't doing no running.
Okay. And is it true that after you ran outside of the club, that you told Detective Thorpe?
I ain't doing no running, Miss Hilton.
Okay. Well, is that what you told Detective Thorpe?
I told you I tell him anything.
Okay.
You want the truth though, but I ain't doing no running. I'm gonna make other people run.
All right. And once you went outside of the club, you saw an individual by the name of Bloody J.
Did I do something to him?
Once you went out the club, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you saw an individual by the name of Bloody J?
I don't recall.
Okay. And when you saw Bloody J outside, you asked them what was up. Like, why did they beat you up?
I don't recall.
Okay. And that one of your friends ended up beating up Bloody J.
I don't recall.
Okay. Then you also told Detective Thorpe that after this incident on Club Crucial, the Monday before Donovan Thomas was killed, you told him about a meeting that you were aware of involving an individual by the name of Mo. Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe about this meeting with a person by the name of Mo?
I don't recall.
And that the meeting with Mo was about you and Thug. You and Thug were the topic of discussion at this meeting with this individual named Mo.
Sound like something else I make up.
Okay. And that at the time, Mo is actually in prison.
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
I don't recall.
All right. And that the guy in prison, he's supposed to try to get you and Thug killed.
I don't know about Thug, but I'm still here, ain't it?
That's not my question. Isn't it true that's what you told Detective Thorpe?
Nobody gonna do nothing to me.
So do you not remember telling Detective Thorpe that?
I done told Detective Thorpe anything.
Okay. Also, in that same interview, did you then tell Detective Thorpe that once you found out about this meeting, you reached out to members of If Gang and asked them if they were going to kill you and Thug?
You sound copping deuces?
I'm sorry?
You sound copping deuces?
I asked you, isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe that after you heard about this meeting, about people wanting to kill you and Thug, you text people of If Gang asking them if they wanted to kill you and Thug?
I bet you don't got any text messages. So my answer is, you want me to tell the truth. And the truth is, when I talked to Detective Thorpe, whatever his name is, I told him anything. And I'm telling you today, it was a lie. And today, I'm telling you, I made things up.
Okay.
That is the God honest truth.
So is it your testimony today that that you were not aware of a meeting, that you were the subject, people wanted to kill you?
My answer is, I don't recall nothing. I don't told the detective. So, okay. And I'm telling you, whatever I did tell him, I was making it up. Right. It don't take a rocket science to figure it out.
Right. Did you also tell Detective Thorpe about a shooting at a gambling house in Lakewood?
Huh?
Isn't it true that you also told Detective Thorpe about a shooting at a gambling house in Lakewood?
I probably did, just to try to make my story seem more convincing. I don't recall what I done told them. I don't know.
Okay. And during the course of that shooting at the Lakewood house, Thug's car got shot at.
I don't recall.
Now, did you also speak with, is it true that you spoke with Detective Thorpe about the night before Donovan Thomas got murdered?
So it may seem like I'm trying to help Thug out. I'm not trying to help him out. I don't care nothing about him, what he got going on, nothing. I care about the truth. The truth was, I was going through a phase in my life, and I have put all the blame on him. Okay. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he got going on. But y'all got me on the stand, and I'm telling the God honest truth. Leave me out of this. I made all these stories up, put the blame on him to get myself out of the situation because the police told me they want a big fish, and I'm a little fish. They ain't who I want. Okay. So when they told me that, my only motive was to convince them that I'm telling the truth about this guy right here, and I'm lying.
All right. Isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe that the night before Donovan Thomas got murdered, you were actually at the studio with Thug?
I doubt it. I don't recall.
Okay. And that the studio that you were at was DJ Drama Studio?
Yeah, I don't recall. I don't know that. I don't recall.
All right. Have you ever been to DJ Drama Studio with Thug?
I don't even know who DJ Drummer is.
Okay. Did you also tell Detective Thorpe that on the morning of Donovan Thompson's murder, you actually went to your girlfriend's house early in the morning around 5 or 6 o'clock a.m. after you left the studio with?
Can you say it again?
Sure. Isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe that after you left the studio on Friday night, the night before Donovan Thomas was murdered, you went to your girlfriend's house at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and that would be on Saturday, January 10th?
I don't know. I can't remember what I told it. I don't recall what I told that man.
Okay. And is it true that in that same interview on January 11th, that you told Detective Thorpe that you stayed at your girlfriend's house until about 7 p.m. at night, and that's when you left your girlfriend's home?
I'm single.
Back in 2015, did you have a girlfriend by the name of Deshawn Quarterman?
You didn't have to say her name like that.
Okay. Did you have a girlfriend back in 2015?
My daughter mama, yes.
Okay. And was she your girlfriend in 2015?
She's my daughter mama.
In 2015, was she your girlfriend?
We had a child together in 2015.
All right. And during the same January 11, 2015 interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that when you woke up at her house, that she was not present? She was not there at the house when you woke up?
I don't remember what I told the detective.
Okay. Do you remember her being at the house when you woke up the day that Donovan Thomas was killed? Okay. And when you woke up and she wasn't home, you actually called her to find out where she was. Do you remember did you tell Detective Thorpe that?
I don't recall.
Isn't it true that you also called your brother to get his car on the day that Donovan Thomas was killed?
You say, is it true?
Yes.
Nothing I say is true.
Okay. Is it true that you told Detective Thorpe that you called your brother to get his vehicle on the night that Donovan Thomas was killed?
You said, did I call my brother to get his vehicle?
Yes.
Can you say that again?
Did you tell Detective Thorpe that on the day that Donovan Thomas was killed, you got your brother's vehicle so that you could borrow his car?
Yeah, that was another lie.
Okay. So you never borrowed your brother's car?
No, that was my car.
Did you tell Detective Thorpe?
I don't recall telling Detective Thorpe. No, I mean, like, my brother never let me drive his car.
Okay. Isn't it true that your brother lived in the same neighborhood as your girlfriend back in 2015?
I don't recall.
Okay. And that on this same January 10th, 2015 date, you actually left your girlfriend's house and went to your brother's house to change clothes and to get his car so you can use it?
I don't recall.
Okay. Isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe that after you got the car from your brother, you actually drove over to Mechanicsville?
I don't recall.
Okay. And it's also true that after you drove over to Mechanicsville, or when you drove over to Mechanicsville, you went to the green store?
I don't recall.
Okay. And is it true that when you were at the green store, someone gave you some peroxide to put on your mouth because you had a cut on your mouth?
Huh?
Back in January 2015.
No, I'm saying, I don't recall. You don't got to re-ask it again. I don't know nothing about none of that you talking about.
Okay. And while you were in Mechanicsville, you got a call from Little D from Mechanicsville that he was on Cleveland Avenue. Do you recall telling him?
I don't recall.
Okay. And once you got the call from Little D, you actually drove over to Cleveland Avenue and met Little D at the McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue.
Kept. I don't recall.
And is it true that you told Detective Thorpe that when you got to the McDonald's at Cleveland Avenue, Little D got into the car with you and just told you that Nut just got killed, bro?
Detective Thorpe is a person that you could just tell anything to. And that's what I did. I do not recall what I said to that man.
Okay. Is it true that you then told...
I'm going to ask about prior statements. I'm going to ask you to specify your statement.
All right.
The date.
Okay. Can you be a little more specific in your questioning as to which statement it is?
Sure. In the same January 11, 2015 interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you met Little D at the McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue?
I don't recall.
Okay. And in that same interview, when you met with Little D, he told you that Nut just got killed, bro?
I don't recall.
And you responded, really, bro?
I don't recall.
And then you asked him what happened.
I don't even know what happened.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe that you asked him what happened?
I don't recall.
And the first thing you told Little D was, damn, they gonna say that I did it, bro.
Huh?
Isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe in this January 11th interview that after Little D told you that Nut got killed, you said to Little D, damn, they gonna say I did it, bro?
Okay.
Okay. Isn't it true you told Detective Thorpe that?
I don't recall.
All right. And he responded to you, shit, before I know you ain't do it.
Who responded to me?
Little D, that's what Little D said to you.
He said what?
Shit, but I know you ain't do it.
That what he said?
That's what you said to Detective
Oh,
Thorpe.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't recall.
Then is it true that you also told Detective Thorpe that as you were leaving the McDonald's, Moontoon called you?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you all recall Moontoon called you that night? Okay.
I don't know.
All right. And that Moontoon called you on FaceTime?
I don't recall.
And Moontoon, for the record, is MOONKTOONK. And is it true that when Moontoon called you, you told Detective Thorpe that you told Detective Thorpe that they think that you and Moontoon killed Nut?
I don't recall.
And at that time, Detective Thorpe asked you for a number for Moontoon.
He did?
Do you remember him asking you for a phone number for Moontoon?
I don't recall. I don't remember what we talked about in the interview.
Okay. And also during that interview, you told Detective Thorpe that Moontoon actually FaceTimed you.
Told you could tell the Thorpe anything, he'll go for it.
And in that same interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that initially you didn't want to come to police headquarters, but you talked to people and asked them whether or not you should come down to the police headquarters?
Can't nobody give me, I would not listen to nobody, not even you.
Okay. Isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe? So at first I asked like, hey bro, They saying I did it. I need to go to headquarters. And he's like, nah, we need them to call you. And I told everybody I didn't have nothing to do with it. So I called. I was trying to get the best advice I can. Then the next you know, they was like, oh, I called my girl's mama. I was talking to her before they shot her house up. Me and her was talking on the phone.
You put me here to tell the truth. The truth is I made it up. I keep telling you this. So the police can't get me. Man, we got you. You put a gun out on us, man. Just give us your boy Thug. Shit, what y'all want me to say?
On January 11th, did you pull the gun out on anybody? On January 11th, 2015, did you pull the gun out on anybody?
I ain't did nothing.
Okay, so you went down to the police department on your own, correct?
I don't recall.
Okay, and when you went to the police, that was to clear your name that you did not kill Nut, correct?
I think that was the motive.
Okay, so you went down on your own to tell them about whatever you knew about Nut, correct?
Say that again?
You went to police headquarters on your own to tell them whatever you knew about Nut, correct?
Is it a trick question?
No, it's not a trick question.
Can you ask it again?
Sure. Back in January of 2015, the night that Nut was murdered, you went to Atlanta Police Department, correct?
I don't recall.
Okay. And when you went down there, that was to clear your name that you did not kill Nut, correct?
You gonna lock me up?
Did you get locked up on January 11th, 2015?
I'm saying if I get my answer now.
Did you go to clear your name about killing Donovan Thomas?
I don't recall.
In that same interview, you were asked who dropped you off to the police department. And you told them it was Multo who dropped you off to the police department. Is that correct?
I thought you said Moontoon called me.
After Multo called you, did you meet up with Multo?
I don't recall. So much happened that night. I don't know.
Okay. What do you remember happening that night, Mr. Copeland?
Shit, I don't know.
Okay.
I ain't telling myself.
All right. And back in 2015, isn't it true that Multo was driving a blue or gray Malibu vehicle?
Ask him.
I'm asking you.
I don't recall.
Okay. In the same January 11th interview, did you also tell Detective Thorpe that the only person that you had beef with from If Gang was Kel?
I don't recall. What I told the detective. But if you asking me for the truth, I keep telling you, I would tell detectives whatever they wanted to hear or whatever they wanted me to say to get out of my situation.
All right. Now, during this interview with the January 11th interview with Detective Thorpe, did you talk about the gang that Kel was involved in?
I gotta tell you about something I don't recall.
Okay. Did you tell Detective Thorpe that Kel was a part of 9 Deuce Inglewood ABG gang?
I don't recall.
Did you also tell Detective Thorpe that that was the same gang that Bloody J was a part of?
I don't recall. I thought I was here to tell the truth.
Okay. And what's your new version? What's your truth today?
That I lied.
And that you lied about everything back in 2015?
My truth today is I lied and put the blame on others for a lot of activities. I ain't telling on myself. I ain't got nothing else to say. I don't recall.
Okay. Now, did you also talk to Detective Thorpe about you at one time being cool with Bloody J or being friends with Bloody J?
I don't recall what I told detective, investigator, what deputy, whatever you want to call them.
Okay. And then you stopped being cool with Bloody J and ABG once you started hanging around Thug.
I don't hang around other people.
Okay. Isn't that true that you told Detective Thorpe in this January 11, 2015, that when Thug started letting me hang around him, that's when you were no longer cool?
I'm from Mechanicsville. I do what I want to do.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm asking you what you told Detective Thorpe.
I tell Detective Thorpe anything to get him off of me. Y'all believe me so much, why? Never mind, man. Look.
After Donovan Thomas was killed, did Deshaun's mom's house get shot up?
You said did her mommy's house get shot up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you recall telling Detective Thorpe about the fact that her mother's house got shot up after Donovan Thomas was killed?
I don't remember if I said it to him, but I know her mama's house did get shot up, so I don't know what I told him.
So if you told him that her house did get shot up, that would have been the truth and not a lie, correct?
Look, y'all had 50 police investigators questioning me different times. I don't remember, because I know y'all trying to trick me to get me back in jail. I don't know if it was Detective Thorpe, Gaten, Dennis, or whoever the other police is here. What I don't lied and told them. But every time that they came and told me, I sat in front of them and gave them whatever I wanted to tell them. And if it was the truth, it would not take no 10 years later for them to try to go do anything about it or to go back and use it. I'm telling you today, I told you before y'all put me in this courtroom that I lied. I don't want to be here. I'm not scared of nobody. I'm not in here trying to work in nobody's favor. Y'all is not fit to put it on my conscience that I don't sat up here and lied on these boys for stuff that I don't did. Not what I did, but for stuff that I'm not fit to sit up here and lie on them. And no, I don't care. Stop asking me questions. I'm not fit to lie on them.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Copeland, listen to the question that Ms. Hilton just asked you and see if you can answer that question. Just pay attention to what she's actually asking you and answer that.
Yes, ma'am.
So my question was, on January 11, 2015, you told Detective Thorpe about Deshaun's mother's house being shot up, correct?
I told it to a police. I don't know which one to be specific.
And that was not a lie, correct?
Her house was been shot up.
Okay, so that wasn't a lie when you told Detective Thorpe that, correct?
I don't know if it was him I told it to.
I don't think we got a clear answer yet. Overruled.
So that wasn't a lie, though, correct? If you told any police, whether you remember being Detective Thorpe or Gaither, was that a lie?
That her house was shot up?
Yes.
Man,
So was that a lie?
what you mean?
You just said
So when you finessing the police, this how you finesse the police. You take a little bit of the truth and you take the bullshit and you put it together.
Okay. So
That's how I outsmarted Detective Thorpe and Gaither and everybody else. Take this right here, because I know they didn't know this, and put it with this over here.
And during all of your interviews, did they tell you, we're going to have to corroborate what you said?
And if you take all of my interviews and put them together, let's see what you come up with.
Okay. But did they tell you that? Did they tell you they were going to corroborate everything that you said? Overruled. Did the detectives tell you that they would have to corroborate everything that you said?
I can't tell you. Y'all have so many police talking to me. I don't know. I can't say what they done told me.
Did Gaither tell you on multiple occasions, I'm going to have to verify what you're telling me? I just can't take your word for true. I have to verify what you're telling me.
I don't know nothing about all that. I don't recall.
You don't recall that? Let me ask you this. Do you recall talking to Detective Gaither while you were after you got locked up in June of 2015, calling her on her cell phone while you were in jail?
I don't know. I don't recall.
All right. And do you recall asking her, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be able to get out? And she kept telling you, we got to verify what you told us.
And did I get out?
I'm asking you a question. Did she tell you,
listen,
we have to answer my question?
I'm about to. You won't let me. If I call Detective Gaither and she said she had to verify anything I said in 2015. In 2015, y'all locked me up every month. Y'all locked me up. February, I got out March. Y'all locked me back up March, I got out April. Y'all locked me back up June, I didn't get out to 2019. So if she verified anything I said, there were 4 years and some change. I did 51 months in the federal prison. Nothing been verified that I said. Whatever the case is, I haven't heard anything from Detective Gateman, but it's nothing to spin the police.
So my question to you was, did Detective Gaither tell you that she had to verify what you said?
I don't recall.
All right. Now, going back to the January 11, 2015 interview, do you recall Detective Thorpe asking you about whether or not you ever rented or owned an Infiniti vehicle?
I don't recall.
And earlier you said that your brother never gave you a car or let you borrow his car. Did you remember saying that?
I bought my own car.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe that your brother let you borrow his white Dodge Charger?
I tell Detective Thorpe anything.
Okay. And matter of fact, is that the same white Dodge Charger that members of If Gang shot at while you were on the highway back in late January of 2015?
Well, I don't know. I don't recall.
Okay. And matter of fact, you told your brother to make the police report because it was his vehicle that you were driving when members of If Gang tried to shoot at you on the highway.
I don't recall.
And during the course of this January 11th interview, isn't it true that you talked to Detective Thorpe multiple times about all the incidents that occurred in the weeks leading up to Donovan Thomas getting killed?
I better have a different story every time.
Okay. Specifically, you told him a couple times about the incident at the Cascade skating ring. Isn't that true?
I don't recall.
Okay. And that's
specifically what I said. I know if you take any time I talk to the Detective Thorpe, I bet you ain't none of my stories gonna be the same.
Okay. Well, isn't it true that in January of 2015, when you first talked to the police about what happened with Donovan Thomas, you were actually trying to protect your friends and you didn't want to give them all the information back in January of 2015?
I'm just trying to protect myself.
Okay. But then by
I got a family to protect.
Okay. But by June of 2015, you finally disclosed everything that you knew about what happened the night of Donovan Thomas's murder and everything that happened leading up to Donovan Thomas's murder.
No, sir, what y'all did was y'all kept locking me up and putting me in isolation, putting me in protected custody at the Fulton County Jail, where people putting feces all on the wall, locking me in the room, keeping me in there 23 hours a day, fucking up my mental, and keep dragging me back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to make, man, listen, man,
So I ask you my question again. Isn't it true that in January of 2015, you were trying to protect your friends, so you didn't give the police a lot of details about what happened the night of Donovan Thomas's murder?
I can't, can you ask that again?
Sure. Isn't it true that in January 2015, when you first spoke to Detective Thorpe, you did not give him a lot of details about what happened the night of Donovan Thomas's murder because you were trying to protect your friends?
No, I just had enough time to protect myself by getting my story together. Like, I'm only thinking about protecting myself. Why would I try to protect some people and then wait down the line and give them up? They don't make sense to me.
Because isn't it true that in June of 2015, you thought that Thug was trying to kill you?
That's if I thought Thug was trying to kill me, I'm trying to get him.
Okay. In June of 2015, did you think Thug was trying to kill you?
That's what I told the investigators.
Isn't that true?
I don't recall. I don't recall.
Okay. And also in June of 2015, were you involved in a number of retaliatory shootings because of Donovan Thomas being killed?
Huh?
By the time we get to June of 2015, were you the victim of a number of retaliatory shootings because people thought you killed Donovan Thomas Jr.?
It calls for speculation.
Well, as to the compound question, you can try to ask it more simply. She's asked, I'm going to overrule with regard to speculation because she's asking about his own mind.
So in June of 2015, were you the victim of a number of retaliatory shootings?
Well, y'all locked me up in February. I got out March. Y'all locked me back up again March. I got out April. And then the feds came kicking in my door June. So I basically was in jail most of the time. So I don't recall being a victim of a lot of shootings.
Okay. By the time June 2015, we already talked about your girlfriend's mother's house was shot up, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You were shot at while driving on the highway, correct?
I don't recall.
Okay. You, your child, and your child's mother was shot at while you were leaving the home.
Mm-hmm.
The home, correct? You also had...
I was shooting back.
We're going to get to the fact that
Okay.
you shot back.
Yeah.
You also had another shooting at another family member's house. Is that correct?
Was it?
I'm asking you.
I don't recall.
Okay. So by the time you speak to the police in June of 2015, you or your family were the victim of a number of different retaliatory shootings.
I guess. I don't.
And that was all as a result of people thinking that you killed Nut, correct?
Right. Now, Ms. Hilton, that is speculation. Okay.
Was it your belief that it was because people thought you killed Nut?
They didn't think.
When you said they didn't think, what do you mean?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, in that same January 11, 2015 interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you were in a gang?
Huh?
In the same January 11, 2015 interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you were in a gang?
I don't recall.
Okay. And did you tell Detective Thorpe that some of the beef that you were having with Kel is because you were not down with ABG anymore?
I'm from Mechanicsville. We never liked it them.
Okay. I'm asking, did you tell Detective Thorpe that the reason this beef is because you were no longer down with ABG anymore?
I'm from Mechanicsville. My neighborhood is known for killing them.
That's not my question.
I would never be part of their gang.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe or Detective Thorpe asking you, okay, so you left ABG? And your response to that question, yes, but that was in about 2013. I went to jail in 2013 or 12. I went to jail in 2012. I did a year. But when I went to jail in 2012, I didn't get down with the gang no more. I told him I wasn't in it. Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe that?
Being questioned by the police, the main goal is to be a victim. And that's what my motive, to play a victim. So if Detective Thorpe asks me any question, I'm going to play a victim. So I'm going to say whatever that come to my mind to make myself look innocent and to be a victim.
Okay. And then you also told Detective Thorpe that when you got out in 2013, you just stopped going around and you just wasn't claiming it anymore. Did you recall telling him that?
Can you say that again?
Sure. You also told Detective Thorpe that once you got out of jail in 2013, you just stopped going around and that you weren't claiming it anymore.
I don't run behind nobody.
Okay. And then did you also tell Detective Thorpe, so now they think I'm with Thug, I'm claiming YSL?
Again, I'm talking to Detective Thorpe. So if I did say that.
Okay. And as you said, that is about, so because you rap, I'm going to get some money, but I'm going to claim YSL.
Can you say that again?
Sure. You told him, so now they think I'm with Thug, I'm claiming YSL. It's about rap, so I'm going to get some money, but I'm claiming YSL.
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay. Now, you keep saying that you told Detective Thorpe whatever it is that you wanted to say, that you were finessing him. Correct. Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe, I'm not trying to go to jail. I'm not trying to do any of that. I don't want none of this. Me and Nut ain't never had a problem.
And I still ain't trying to go to jail.
Okay. So why would you be lying to Detective Thorpe if you did not want to go to jail?
Can you say that? Why would I be lying to him if I didn't want to go to jail?
Correct.
What you mean?
Like you keep saying that you were just lying. Why would you lie versus just telling him the truth?
That's how I was raised. I was raised up to lie to the police. I was at an early age. I was taught to lie to the police.
But if you're trying not to go to jail, why would you lie to the police versus telling them the truth?
You trying to trick me?
I'm asking you a question.
I'm not gonna confess.
Confess to what?
Nothing.
When you went in on January 11th, were you there only to talk about the murder of Donovan Thomas?
I don't know what I'll be. All I know is if you give me an opportunity to talk my way out of the situation, I'm about to talk my way up out of the situation.
Okay. During the course of your interview, were you asked about what your Instagram page was back in 2015?
I don't recall.
Okay. And back in 2015, is it true that your Instagram page was Woody372?
I don't recall. I had a lot of Instagram, so I don't know.
Okay. Is it true that's what you told Detective Thorpe that your Instagram name was?
I tell Detective Thorpe anything.
Do you also recall telling Detective Thorpe that because people thought you killed Nut, that you were getting a lot of threats on your social media page?
I think I was throwing people back.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe that you were getting threats on your social media page?
I don't know. Detective Thorpe talked to me And I can't remember what I said to him because I was making it up. And you asking me right now, and I'm telling you to your face. Can you look me in my eyes? I'm telling you to your face, I made it up.
Okay. Is it true that you told Detective Thorpe that someone posted on your page, "I'm going to die tonight," but then she deleted the comment, but you screenshotted it?
I'm still here, ain't it?
Okay. Is that what you told Detective Thorpe?
I don't recall what I told Detective Thorpe.
And you actually showed him the screenshot on your phone.
I told you,
What
play
she
a,
said.
play a victim. That's the key.
Do you recall how many people back in January 2015 that you asked whether or not you should go down and talk to the police that night of Donovan Thompson's murder?
I never take people's advice.
Okay. Do you recall, or is it true that you told Detective Thorpe that you spoke to Deshaun's dad about whether or not you should go down and talk to the police?
I never had this son dad number that I recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe, that's what me and her daddy talked about? I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go down, but I told him, and he's like, nah, because they might find out what happened. You know what I'm saying? And then you ain't got nothing to do with it. So just wait until they come and talk to you. Don't go down and talk to them.
So I was raised up that if when nobody with you, they don't need to know. So I ain't on all that what you talking about. It was a lie what I told Investigator Thorpe. It's something that I came up out top. I was making it up. That's why I can't remember what I said to him. You want me to say something that I didn't say so you can put me back in jail?
Okay.
I don't recall what I said. I don't.
Did you kill Donovan Thomas, Mr.
Huh?
Copeland? Did you kill Donovan Thomas, Mr. Copeland?
Huh?
Did you kill Donovan Thomas? You shaking your head? Is that a no?
No.
Okay, then. And is that what you went down there to tell Detective Thorpe back on January 11, 2015?
What?
Is that what you went down there to tell Detective Thorpe, that you did not kill Donovan Thomas?
I don't understand. I don't know if this is a trick question.
When you went down there, did you go down there to tell Detective Thorpe where you were the entire day and that you did not kill Donovan Thomas?
Melanie, can I answer that?
Yeah, you need to answer that.
I don't know how to answer that.
Do you need to talk to Mr. Melnick?
No, I don't know if it's a trick question that she asked me.
All right.
I'm not
Hang
understanding.
on. Let's break. We're going to need to break in just a few minutes. Anyway, so let's break now. If you need to talk to Mr. Melnick in the interim, you can do that. And then we'll come back after lunch and you can answer that question if, depending upon what you and Mr. Melnick decide.
I'm going to just the question on the basis that it's a compound question.
All right. Well, that is true. I will sustain that objection. So Ms. Hilton, during the break, formulated into something that is not a compound question.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So let's break until will 1:30 be enough time for everybody? All right. We'll see everybody back in your seats, ready to go at 1:30. before we break for lunch? Okay, let's all of us be back at 1:25, just in case y'all think of something you want to tell me, okay? See you then.
Judge, I gotta stay here.